Hello, and welcome to r/Today I Effed Up, the subreddit where you can read about other people's misfortunes and experience secondhand emotions, such as embarrassment and shame, and the absolute horror of getting something stuck in your— Actually, I'm gonna not spoil it. Also, please feel free to let me know which subreddit you want me to do next. I don't want to bore you by doing the same 3 subreddits over and over. Today I effed up by pulling a little prank on my girlfriend, and now nobody knows where she is. Let me start out by saying that my girlfriend isn't the smartest person on earth. Or at least, she's very gullible and doesn't ever take the time to think things through critically, and that's how this whole story begins. She had called me yesterday morning and told me that she had downloaded a movie from a website, and she was asking me if that was illegal what she just did. I mean, technically it is, but I've yet to hear of any cases of people being legitimately punished for it. But I still decided to have some fun with my girlfriend. I jokingly told her, "That's a serious national offense. The FBI could be heading to your house right now." She screamed, "What?" And I told her that the FBI takes this stuff seriously. She then hangs up, and when I tried to call her back and text her, I got no response. So I figured the best thing to do would be to go to her house. I drove to her house, but her car wasn't there and her parents were standing outside. Her mom was on her phone, and I asked where my girlfriend was. Her dad asked me the same thing, and he explained that just a few minutes ago, she had come downstairs with a suitcase, hugged them both, and simply said, "I'll explain when I get the chance," and then just got in her car and drove off. I honestly was on the verge of bursting into laughter at the thought, but her parents were obviously both concerned, and I held back. Her dad accused me of this being a prank of mine. Me and him don't have a good history together at all, and I just told him that I'd find her. I spent all day driving around Chicago and the surrounding areas while trying to call and text her, but no response. I also tried to contact some of her friends, but they hadn't heard or seen from her. And to this very minute, I still haven't heard from her, and I'm convinced that I just caused my girlfriend to flee the country. Oh no, that poor innocent gullible girl. I've been checking for updates on this, but none yet so far, and I just really hope that she finally answered her phone so someone can explain to her that she's not top priority for the FBI. Today I effed up by smoking on my apartment balcony. This happened Saturday and was, without question, the worst thing that has ever happened to me in my life. Saturday night, my girlfriend and I had my parents over for a game night. We just moved into our new place last week Monday and wanted them to see it. We were waiting on my brother who was running late, so I decided to have a smoke on my balcony. Everything is normal for the first few minutes. I'm just playing some free game that I've spent way too much money on and not aware at all of my surrounding. Then it happened. A bug flew in my ear. Now, this happens occasionally. A bug will fly and hit my ear and be on its way. But this little bastard decided my ear was going to be its new home and dug deep. I immediately lost all semblance of self-control and flung my phone and the chair I was sitting on and sprinted into the apartment while freaking out. The bug was digging or chewing and vibrating, and that sound and feeling against your eardrum has to be the worst thing you can ever experience. My girlfriend freezes. My father tells me to get in the shower and just fill my ear with water. I'm helpless at this point, so I just follow my dad's instructions. The bug did not like the water. It dug deeper. The noise and the feeling got worse. I used a Q-tip to try and dig it out. All I got was blood. My father took a used water bottle from my recycling, poked a hole in the cap, and used that to try to directly flush the bug. Nothing but more digging and moving. I'm literally screaming every time it moves, both from the pain and the disgusting feeling I got when I felt it. My mother at this point takes off to run to the store to grab something she thinks will help. I barely notice she leaves, but I hope to God she will save me. In the meantime, my girlfriend reads that a couple of drops of vegetable oil can suffocate the bug, so my dad opens our brand new bottle of oil and dumps it in my ear. At this point, my entire body is covered in oil. I could have used concrete as a slip and slide. I'm naked in my shower with a bug in my ear, topped off with oil, holding the shower curtain over my crotch trying to keep some bit of modesty, all while freaking out at the chewing next to my brain. The oil does nothing but piss it off. We're talking about going to the hospital when my mother returns. She has what looks like the top of a turkey baster. Apparently this is something used to suck out boogers from babies' noses. My father tries to use it at first because my limbs no longer work. He doesn't go deep enough because he doesn't want to pop my eardrum. I didn't care at this point because the bug was using it as an actual drum already, so I managed to regain use of my arm, grabbed the thing, and jammed it in my ear. It sucks the bug, but it's too big to get it out. Too heavy for it to hold on to. My girlfriend then fills it with water and suggests I use that to flush the bug. After 4 attempts, I finally feel some relief. I look down on my chest and see something far bigger than I expected. At this point, I'm too freaked out to look closely and yell for her to look. She freaks out because it's a moth. A good size moth. I again nearly crap myself and rinse it off. I cannot do justice to this event in words. I cannot accurately describe the noise, the feeling, the horror of this. Picture it yourselves. Imagine you have a dime-sized bug in your ear, scratching, biting, chewing, digging, then realize it actually feels worse than that. If this was punishment for committing crimes, we would no longer need jails. One day with a bug in your ear would be enough punishment for murder, and I can promise you they wouldn't do it again. I'd rather be waterboarded while listening to Barney on a loop. Those terrorists had it easy. I now wear my girlfriend's bright pink Beats headphones out while smoking, and I'm strongly considering quitting. It shook me that much. How does a dime-sized bug even fit into an ear? I've seen a video of a guy getting a cockroach pulled out of his ear, and it's just like, how does that even work? Today I effed up by having the police respond to my favorite lunch spot, and learning that I've been the subject of a several month-long investigation. Okay, so full disclosure. This occurred in 2014 and is something only myself and one other person knows about, until now. In 2014, I worked at a travel plaza on a busy interstate. I was in college and worked full-time, sometimes 10-hour shifts. I loved that job very much. But sometimes, dealing with hundreds of customers in a short period of time can be taxing, and the last thing you want to do is eat your lunch or dinner surrounded by customers. So after a few weeks of working there, I decided to bring my lunch or dinner to my car. I ate in my car a few times, and while it was nicer, being right next to the interstate was not exactly a peaceful environment. It was the summertime, and maybe 60 seconds down the road was an elementary school, and the parking lot was empty. I drove my car there and ate my lunch one day, and it was so peaceful. I was able to sit in my car with the windows down and eat and listen to music. Finally, I found a quiet place. For the next several weeks, I would take my lunch or dinner break and head to the parking lot. It was so nice. Now, here comes my mistake. I was younger and I did not have any intentions to do anyone any harm. School started and I still went to the parking lot to enjoy my lunch. I parked at the bottom of the parking lot, closer to the road, but still it was quiet and nobody batted an eye. Looking back now, I would have never gone to the parking lot of a school to eat my lunch as it just sounds creepy. I never saw any kids where I was and I spent more time focusing on eating and listening to music or podcasts. Fast forward to the winter time. I have been routinely going to the school parking lot to eat my lunch at this point. Nobody ever batted an eye at me or asked me anything or said anything to me. Until the fateful day. I'm sitting and eating my lunch in the parking lot, and I randomly look at my driver's side mirror, and the unmistakable front of a police car took up my entire mirror. At this point, I don't know what to do. I put my hands on the steering wheel as I see the cop approaching me. He puts his hands on his gun and asks me what I'm doing. With a mouthful of French fries, I say, eating my lunch? The police officer asks why I'm eating my lunch here, and I tell him I just want to eat somewhere peaceful. He acknowledged that, and knew that I worked at the travel plaza because of my shirt and my overall odor of greasy fast food. He asked for my identification and radioed in with dispatch to see if I had any warrants or anything. After I came back clean, he gives me my license and says, "You know, the ladies in the office of the school have been watching you for months and calling me every time you're here. You're always gone by the time I get here. Finally, I found you here. I'm the SRO, and while I understand you want somewhere quiet to eat, please just find a new place to eat. You're obviously not a threat, but the safety of the students and staff is my #1 priority. We didn't know if you were planning on doing something very bad." I told him how much I appreciated him understanding me, and that I would find a new place to eat. He looks in the back of my car and sees my firefighting gear. He quizzes me to see if I actually belong to the fire company that's on my bag by asking me who the fire chief is. After successfully passing his test, he puts his hand out and we shake hands. He wishes me a good day and reminds me again to find somewhere else to eat. I go back to work and tell my best work friend what happened, and he could not stop laughing. He asked me where I'd go to eat my lunch a few weeks before this all went down, and he told me I was a creep for going there. Well, I guess he's not the only one who thought that. I don't work at that travel plaza anymore, but I drive by the school at least once a week, and every time I do, I think about that fateful day where I was presumed to be planning to do something crazy. I am very thankful that the police officer did not jump to conclusions and used his training to hear my story before he did anything else. I respect him, and by effing up, I actually learned some valuable lessons. This is one of those situations where it's like, on one hand, I get it, you want to eat somewhere peaceful and quiet, but on the other, it's like, what made you think that was an okay thing to do? Why didn't you think that was creepy in the first place? But at least the officer was understanding and nothing too bad happened.